Soon. Hi guys, Fight Commentary Breakdowns. Here's a very special guest, Jess-one, as he goes by. And he was the co-organizer of Man of Stand Up. So Jess-one, welcome.
What's up, Jerry? Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. My pleasure. A lot of us kind of stumbled on Man of Stand Up a few years ago. For some reason, some of those videos started trending, and of course, I covered it. And then I got to meet Novell. So let's start from the beginning. How did you meet Novell?
Well, I met Novell years ago. Before he was started teaching, he used to compete in these tournaments and stuff. Because my first teacher was Seafood Ben Hill.
Hmm.
So I used to go to these tournaments with Seafood Ben Hill. Ben Hill was one of the judges. You know,
Hmm.
that's how I met Novell. But I never got to really know him at that time. It wasn't until
Mhm.
years later. You know, I reconnected with him with my other dojo brother, Lance, aka Hispanic Palm. You know, and I found out he was teaching at Central Park. So I sort of reconnected with him, and he started teaching me, and the rest is history.
What was your martial arts journey like? Did you get started when you were really early, or did you get started later on in life? So let's talk about your martial arts journey.
Well, I got interested, watching the kung fu flicks every Saturday or Sunday, I think, I believe. You know, I'll watch kung fu flicks, so I always interested in it, and when I met Ben Hills in the after school program, the Beacon
Mm.
Center, and at first they say, oh, they teach you karate. So I said, all right, let me see what this is about. But when I see the circles on the floor, like, I don't remember seeing karate having circles like this. He's like, nah, it's ain't karate, it's kung fu. It's called Bao Zhang. I'm like, never heard of it. I'm like, okay, what's the discipline? What's the? And he's like, well, he said, for you to understand it, it was he's the way he explained it to me. It was like it's made for to fight multiple opponents. So the neighborhood I grew up in, sometimes you have situations where you'll get jumped. You know, so to hear that to learn this, you could fight off multiple opponents. Hey, I'm in. You know, so that Ben Hill became my first teacher. Also, he had another partner named Terry, Seafood Terry. He taught Tai Chi. So I was learning
Mhm.
from both of them because I
Wow.
think yeah, Ben Hill was doing Mondays and Wednesdays, and Terry was doing Tuesdays and Thursdays.
And what was training like? Was it conditioning and then maybe drills, then sparring?
Oh
Tell me
yeah,
about.
it was all about the Ben Hill concentrated more on the legs. You
Mm.
know, he said the foundation is in your legs, man, because straining your legs gotta be stronger. And at that time, Ben Hill was very militant, and what I mean by that is he would make us better beyond kung fu. Like he saw me one time with my walking with my hands in my pocket. He said, "Hey, stop doing that. That's a sign of weakness." So I'm like, "What do you mean it's a sign of weakness?" So at first he took it. I was challenging him, but the girlfriend he was with at the time reminded him. He just asked you a question. He wasn't challenging you, and he caught himself like, "Oh," and he said, "My back. No, let me explain to you why." You know.
Wow. Wow. The hands in the pocket thing, I guess from my understanding, it's just harder for you to respond, right? If someone attacks you. Like, why did he tell you it's a sign of weakness that hands in your pocket?
What it's because like I say, he was very militant and he's Muslim.
Uh,
So for the Muslim communities, when you put your hand in your pocket, you know, it's like you try to hide your nervousness, you know, or from being nervous, and it's like you're showing people you're insecure. So you gotta have your hands up front, you know, and shake a man's hand, look in his eye, you know. So I see Ben Hill teach a lot of guys, young at the time, teaching them that. So that's the
that's
way he
super
sees
interesting.
beyond kung fu. You know.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. Um, so did you start taking part in tournaments and stuff, or was it more sparring? Tell me more about that.
No, I never on not with Ben Hill under Ben Hill. I didn't do no tournaments. It was
Mhm.
under Nobel because technically I hate fighting.
Mhm.
You know, I hate violence. You know, and but of course when you got no choice, you got to fight. You
Yeah.
know, and but with Nobel, to his credit, you know, he he gave me the confidence to actually spar more. You know, and to accept the fact that in any fight you're gonna get hit. You know what I'm saying? Unless you got a weak opponent who has no experience. You know, you want to be a bully. You know, which I'm totally not. So yeah, so he pushed me to do tournaments, you know, and stuff to fight, you know, sparring and stuff like that.
Mhm. What was training under Novell like? How is it different from, let's say, training under Sifu Terry or training under, Benny Hill? Ben
Well,
Hill?
well, Ben Hill, like I said, he was more of the foundation of Bao Zhang, and with Novell was more the fighting aspect of out of both of them.
I see. Okay.
We lost
How
connection.
many no, I can hear you. Yeah, there was a it briefly, but it's fine.
Right.
Um, the how many students did you train with under each of these teachers you had?
Ben Hill, if I can remember correctly, between 8 or 12. Because remember, people come in and out, you know, especially at the after school program, you know. With Novell, it was a smaller circle, so I'll say about six, 6 to 8, you know,
I
because
see.
he had other students who are seniors, you know, above me and stuff. So yeah, so about a 6 to 8 around there.
Mhm, mhm, I see. So, let's talk about when you guys decided to kind of put on the Man of stand-up. Was it in a conversation that happened naturally, or was it your idea, his idea, or both your ideas to let's start doing these tournaments?
Well, it was his idea, you know. He started Richard Garcia's karate school. You know, he Richard karate, taekwondo. So um, the dojo he had at the time, it was big enough to do a small tournament. So he said, "Hey, let's do another one."
I
So
see
it's like,
it
and then the
it's
second
been
one,
cutting out a little, sorry, it cut out a little, so it sorta cut out at the dojo he had? So, we'll have to repeat that first. So, the dojo he had, and then what happened?
no, it's, the dojo's by, yeah, yeah, it's okay. The dojo was owned by Richard Garcia. He taught Jeet Kune Do, karate, taekwondo. You know, he taught some grappling also. So it was mixed, but his main thing was Jeet Kune Do. He taught. So the first tournament went well. We got it was small. People the way they responded to it because it was pretty good fights they had there. And then we was like, you know, let's do another one. The second one, that's how I got the idea of going to different schools and interviewing, you know, the teachers and the student who's going to participate. You know, and one of the first schools I went to was Seafood Ralph Bay. Um, here's what we got a small world. Ralph Bay, I used to go to school with. You know, he was 1 year ahead of me, but it was the same school, so we knew each other. We knew each other from school. So I didn't know at the time Ralph Bay was into the martial arts like that. You know, so then when I saw our man William Cavalli, you know, and I saw how talented he was, and then I was like, okay, he's gonna be my pick, and he's gonna win this. You know, he did.
So how many tournaments did you guys put on total before you guys stopped doing the man up stand up?
Totals, 6.
Wow,
6.
you guys had a lot of matches in those 6 tournaments because before the channel went down, there were still so many matches that we haven't covered yet on Fight Commentary Breakdown. So you guys, like a lot of people were interested in the event.
Right, because especially back then, people were still interested on which style's the best. Because I don't know if you remember, the UFC was doing that in the beginning. Okay, this guy learned this, Kempo, Taekwondo, Aikido, and then the other guy, Kung Fu. They'll list each fighter what they did the discipline, but they don't do that no more in the UFC. But here in
Yeah.
the man of stand up, we did do that. Like, okay, this guy's from this teacher and stuff like that. One of the like, we had a meeting in the second tournament, and I'll never forget this. When Ruben fought that big guy that was from Bagua, and the guy kicked him hard, and because the guy's so used to kicking trees, so of course he's gonna build the strength. So when Ruben felt that kick, like, oh, he really wants to bring it. So I don't know if you realize that's when Ruben was like, okay, I got to turn it up on him, and he did.
Wow. Wow. So besides that match, and then of course Cavalli, what other matches really stood out to you after all these years? You still talk about them. Do you have any more examples?
Um, uh, yeah, there's another guy. Oh, he was a Wing Chun guy. Oh, damn, I can't. Eugene, yeah, Eugene, and another guy. Oh, he was Bagua. That is going back to the second one because that's still my favorite one. And they went at it. Those who, by the third round, they were exhausted. you know. And what was interesting also to that tournament that people making side bets. Okay, I'm betting on this guy $20. They were betting like $20 each. Who's gonna win this one match? I was like, okay, this is interesting. People making side bets. You remember like in Bloodsport? Yeah.
Did the audience favorites during those side bets, did they usually win, or were the audience usually wrong, or was it kind of half and half?
Oh no. It was half and half. But that tournament, all the Wing Chun guys lost. Yeah. All the Wing Chun guys lost. So it was like a landslide.
In fact, to viewers, since Jess-one told me about the Eugene one, I found it. Someone by the name of Kosovo83 uploaded the one with Eugene versus Matt. So I will cover that soon. Thank goodness that
Oh,
one
okay.
was re-uploaded somewhere.
Yeah,
So,
Matt Covey, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it looks like that's Eugene's channel. So Eugene actually uploaded it. So I found Eugene's channel. That's awesome.
But one of my favorite fighters, DJ. DJ was one of my favorite fighters because I seen his progress getting better and better. Every time he fought.
A question that I think a lot of us had. So we follow Cavalli on Fight Commentary Breakdowns. We know he's a pro fighter now. Were there any other people that competed on Man Up Stand Up that ended up continuing their fighting journey many years later?
No. I believe Ruben could have been one of them, but I didn't spark his interest to go pro. But Ruben could have been, I felt he could have been very successful if he took it serious and trained and went pro, especially his kicks, the way the angles he did and stuff like that.
I see. It's so funny because we all have a memory of one or two people who just naturally had good fight IQ, but they ended up doing something else. Like I even remember in elementary school, I went to school with a kid who was just so good with his punches. This kid was crazy. He never had any training. I'm like, man, if that kid went into fighting, that kid would be amazing.
Well, you got people like that who are natural fighters.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And then you got people who are natural coaches.
Yeah.
You know, just because you're a good fighter doesn't mean you'll make you a great coach.
Yeah. Exactly. And it's so funny talking about that. I was just thinking about this topic. Some people they don't even want to coach, but they're some of the best coaches ever. My one of my Muay Thai teachers like he hates coaching. He just wants to fight, but he's a really good coach, man. I learned so much training with him one session.
Yeah, because I think it has to do sometimes they don't have the patience,
Yeah.
all the time, and that's what it is. I think it's more has to do with patience,
Yeah.
because even with Novell, sometimes he'll get impatient, and sometimes we got to remind them, hey, you was a newbie once, okay? You didn't get it overnight. So,
Yeah. Yeah. It's funny too because the DJ versus Jerry fight, I found that one too. It's on Sifu Rasun's channel.
oh,
So I got a bunch of leads from you. This is
yeah, yeah,
awesome.
yeah. Okay, cool.
So even though the main man of the stand-up channel went down, a lot of these matches were still backed up or recorded from other angles by other people who attended.
Right.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. So tell me about your martial arts journey now. Do you still train with Sifu Novell? Do you train on your own? Do you train with a bunch of people?
No, no, no. I mean, no. You know, I'm not training on the Novell no more. You know, um, which I don't want to get into because it's personal. So let's just say we had creative differences, and that's it.
I
Right now,
see.
I'm not training with anybody at all.
Mhm. Mhm.
Like I was interested in this teacher who I interviewed, um, doing Sifu One, Cholefoot, you know. But the thing is, life takes over, and then not like that, he's too far. He
Mhm.
teaches in Brooklyn, and it takes where he's at. It would take me literally 45 minutes or an hour to get to him.
Wow.
So yeah, so
What about any kind of other events do you think about putting on? I mean, you guys did a great thing with Man of Stand Up. So tell me any plans for other events in the future?
I'm working on something. Hopefully, um, the thing is though, it's location number one. And the pricing. And then I'm working with somebody. Hopefully, because a lot of ideas that got implemented in Matter Stand Up on mines. Because I'm a big wrestling fan. You
Mm.
know, so I implemented a lot of ideas of wrestling. I don't know if you noticed it, even with DJ. DJ is a big wrestling fan, and one time he came out and one of the terms out the curtain and jumped out. Like something a wrestler would do. And so what I want to do in my tournament is, get people be more creative. Like you come in with a face paint on,
Mm.
or come in with a mask. You know what I'm saying? Come in with your own music. You know, have a storyline. The only difference is I can't say, okay, you win and you lose. You know what I'm saying? Wrestling they do that, but this is real life. This is real training. So I got to go with who's the champion at the time and who's not. Like I said, I can't say, okay, you lose, you win. Then it won't be real.
Yeah. I love what you said because even in modern UFC, boxing is a little better, but in modern UFC, a lot of those really cool entrances that you would associate with Pride, right? That stuff isn't there anymore. And that's part of the experience. That's part of the experience. The fighter should get, whether the fighter wins or loses, the fighter should get their entry moment. He made it here. He should celebrate. So I agree. I think that's a really cool thing to bring back.
Right.
And yeah, I love it. I mean, the person I always remember is Genki Sudo. Genki Sudo, when he would compete, he would come out, he would do dances, he would dress up as different characters. Like
Yeah.
that's part of the experience.
Yeah, definitely, man. But see, some boxers, they do that. Like you have Bernard Hopkins come in with the alien mask. You know, you had the Dante Wilder come in with that big costume on. Like if it's too heavy, she don't walk out in it. because one of his excuses was the suit was too heavy and made his legs weak. Like no, if it's too heavy, don't wear it. Screw it, scrap
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. It reminds me of, remember in early UFC that very famous fight where Chemo fought Hoist, right? And
Mhm.
Chemo came out with a cross.
Oh
It's like, Chemo, if you didn't come out with the cross and tire yourself out, you might have been able
yeah,
to finish slapping the S out of Hoist, and then like
right.
the entire world would have been different.
But sometimes when it's you think it's a good idea when it's not. The stuff when you're actually doing it, and you're in the middle of it. You're like, that bad idea. So it's too late. You got to keep going with it. It's like when I fought Dave. You know, we were both out of shape. We had no business being in the ring.
Yeah.
You know, but it was like, screw it. We friends. Just do it.
Yeah.
In the middle of the fight, I'm like, bad idea. I'm already out of breath.
Yeah. Yeah, I actually
I love, I
I
love
just put
sparring.
it together. I just realized it was you that fought Dave. I just
Yeah,
realized that.
yeah. I love, Dave was one of my favorite sparring partners, man. Because one day he'll get me, the next day he'll get me. So we was always evenly matched.
Hmm.
You know, and stuff. And one thing when Novell told me, he said, "I noticed with you is like once you get hit, that's when you turn up." You know, he said, but try not to make that a habit because you got some people who got more power than others, and you could get hit with one head and you're knocked out.
Yeah.
He
Yeah,
said, so don't wait for that.
exactly. Yeah, I have the same exact issue. Like I would need to get hit somewhere before I turn it up too. It's always been how I am. But it sucks because, sometimes if someone surprises you, right? Like talking about the streets, man. What if someone just comes in and hits you? You
Yeah,
don't have time to turn it up. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah. It's yeah, and I still don't know exactly how to get rid of that. I mean, for me, when I spar, sometimes it's like I'll be the one pressing forward and I'll need to get hit, right? Which is not smart either. So
right,
I just need to, like, there's all these like psychological things you can do to pump yourself up, but I don't have the answer to fixing that.
right. Like my other brother Lance, Hispanic Palm, he said it. He noticed. He said, "I noticed something about you. You're more of a protector, you know, than you actually. When it comes to you, you don't care what anybody says about you. But let somebody say something about your family, you gonna turn it up.
Hmm.
You know, he witnessed a situation. That's why.
Hmm. Yeah. Let's actually talk more about just growing up. Um, Obviously you grew up in a neighborhood where there are situations around you, right? You have to keep your head on a swivel, as we say.
Mhm.
Um, and it's funny, I learned this from talking to Dave. So connecting back to Dave, shout out Dave, by the way, for connecting Jess-one and I. But even in neighborhoods like this, there's still people who like are in la la land. They don't have their heads on a swivel, which was the most surprising thing I learned from talking to Dave. So tell me about growing up, and like, did you very quickly learn to have your head on a swivel? Tell me about that.
Well, yeah, because like I said, in school, you have some guys who will throw up their hands one on one. You have some who won't. They'll have a crew. That's when they're tough. Then um, you will have to fight. One guy. I got jumped in my lifetime twice.
Wow.
You know, one over a girl. Because the girl didn't want him, and he found out I was dating her. You know, then to find and her life is years later. She's my daughter's mother. You know what I'm saying? So
Oh,
now he still didn't get with her. You know what I'm saying? So all
wow.
that jumping he did on me for nothing. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
But um, we I was gonna try to deal with it, the legal way and stuff. But I decided, I said, you know what? My boy was like, I'll handle it. My god brother, and I said, you little nuts, and and I said, don't do nothing crazy, man. He said, nah, I got it. And next thing you know, I got an apology from the guy, you know, and I had a situation with a guy, and he was a bully in the school, and I had a friend of mine named Jose, And he was like, "Yo, why you tell your godbrother Nelson?" I'm like, "Oh, cause Nelson is crazy." I said, "Derek just talking, you know, what I'm saying, just verbally threatening me, but he hasn't put his hand on me. Let it be, you know." I said, "Of course, I'm gonna defend myself, but you know, if he does." So Jose was like, "All right." I said, "Jose, I'm telling you right now, don't say nothing." He didn't listen. Next, I think 2 days later, yeah, 2 days later, he was like, "Yo, I should have listened to you." I said, "What you do?" He was like, "Yo, I told Nelson. Nelson told me to point them out. I pointed them out, put the kid to the side, and put the gun on him." I'm like, I said, "He did what?" I'm like, he goes, I said, "Yo, I told you." Oh my God, why people don't listen, man.
Wow.
He goes, "Yo, I'm sorry." I said, "No wonder he's not looking my way. Usually he would say something smart, but now he won't even look my way." I found it strange. Now I know why.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, that's the thing about life, right? Especially in America where people can have access to firearms. It
Yeah.
changes it up so much, man. Like, I've never been in a situation of firearm. I've been in situations with blades, but those were, I think back on them, I'm like, wow, like what the heck was I doing? But you add firearms into the equation, it's just that's why it's so important, man. If you can walk away, right? That's one of the first things we learn after a while. It's like if someone wants to challenge us, call us a bunch of names. Okay, all right, fine, okay, right? It's like it's that simple.
I mean, I've been in situations where I was working in the store and the store got robbed.
Oh wow.
You got to pull out a gun and stuff. And yeah.
Yeah, in those cases, you just have to take the money.
Well, yeah, the owner was like, "Yeah, you can have it." Like, the owner, he was like, "Hey, money can get replaced.
Yeah,
Your life can't."
yeah, yeah, exactly. Wow, wow. So you're still in New York, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Do you plan on so when you start doing your the event that we were talking about in the future, do you plan on maybe opening up to because even I know Man of Stand Up, we had Kelly Crofts Johnson who came from Utah, and then there were the Eugene versus one of the other fights. It was the guy was a Philly Wing Chun guy. So obviously there was interest beyond just the New York area. Is the plan to kind of invite more people from all over again, or what's the plan
Oh
on
yeah.
where you would?
Oh,
Yeah,
most
yeah.
definitely. Because Kelly came from Utah. Like I say, he followed Novell online,
Hmm.
on YouTube, and that's when he promoted the tournament online. That's when he decided to come through, and that's how I met Kelly and his other friend. Oh my gosh, he's gonna kill me. I forgot his name. I'm joining blank right now. I'm sorry if you see this little short guy, man, but he was a good fighter too. Yeah, so they came through, and I befriended them, and then the first trip they rented a hotel. The second trip they ended up staying in my house.
Wow.
That's how tight we got. We got, Kelly's another one who got better. You know, the other thing what that held Kelly back a lot was his asthma.
Oh.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah,
Wow. Yeah, and it's funny because Kelly is actually still fighting sometimes, right? He
yeah.
he he does other things, but he's still fighting after all these years. So talking about people who stuck to their journey, he's a
Right.
perfect example.
Hmm.
Yeah, he stuck with his Tai Chi. He's still doing Tai Chi. Oh, actually, it's funny. I just as I searched his name up, there's actually an interview with him on the set of Man of Stand Up. Whoa,
That's
I
probably
never
me.
seen this before.
That's probably me interviewing him.
Oh, wow. Okay, all right, we got more stuff to look at. That's
Well,
pretty cool.
I have a funny story with him.
Yeah, please.
Eh, He when he wanted to really go pro, the guy was like, "All right, this is what we're gonna do. Jess, you take him to seafood Ralph Bay, just start him off there, and then I'll take him to Professor Jahar." Right. So I said, "All right." Now I already knew with Seafood Bay, there was light sparring with them. But when it came to Professor Jahar, it's a little more tougher. And I warned him. I said, "Listen, man, these guys are tough, man. So amp it up. It's not no disrespect to Seafood Bay Hill, Ralph Bay, it's tougher. They're gonna come at you. So be prepared. And then when he started sparring, one of the guys, and then Professor Jahan was like, okay, turn it up on him. So when the students started turning it up on him, he Kelly got frustrated, you know. So Jahan's talking to him, like, listen, man, this is how it's gonna go. And he said, honestly, he didn't go as hard as he should have. But this is just, if you can't handle this, man, you really can't handle the in the pros, you know. So I don't know what got into Kelly's mind, you know, because Professor Jahan said this is gonna be on you, if you're gonna go pro and then you're gonna fold up like that, you know. And like I said, I know what got into Kelly's mind. Said that it is on me. Then the whole room went silent. Like in one of those bad guy movies when somebody smarts them off to the big boss, and everybody turns around like, "You on your own." And I recorded all this, and Professor Jahan just blanked out and just went in on him. Not physically, verbally. And he said, like, oh, you got a smart mouth. You're being real disrespectful right now. He went as far as saying, I'll fucking break your knee. You go to the hospital across the street. Like he really blacked out. He got upset with him. And Kelly apologized, right away. Like he realized he messed up. But Professor Jahan said, please do not post that up. I was like, you called me just in time because I was going to post it up.
Wow. These behind the scenes stories are so fun to hear about. I would encourage you, if you have a YouTube channel or something, like share some of these memories. Like these are the things that, because we only see what happens, and we have some behind the scenes, of course, but we only see mostly what happens with them in the ring. So it's kind of funny, kind of like what you said before. If you're going to host more tournaments in the future, you kind of want to track the whole progression, right? It's all about the story now. Even the UFC, what they're embedded, they want to do. Even Street Beefs, for example. I know Street Beefs, I think they're moving towards, some of their leagues are trying to do that, like get you to know the fighters more, because we like these stories. We like to see how these people are before, after, during the events.
Right.
Man, were there any other kind of like extreme beefs? I know Cavalli had 3 matches with the guy, right? So like he probably had a little bit of beef with some of the people he fought, but were there any other kind of like moments like this where you're like, whoa?
There was one tournament. It was called, I named it the Big Bash, and it was 2 heavyweights. And what happened was one of the guys kneed the guy in the head, and the guy out of pure survival instinct grappled on him. You know what I'm saying? So the big guy's like, yo, you really coming at me? So it turned real. So we like, to the guy who's being more aggressive, like, yo, calm down. This is part of the match, And then for some reason he wouldn't calm down, and it was like, we can't have this match now. So I'm not a big fan of heavyweights, especially amateur heavyweights, because my experience with them is the temperament is not there.
Yeah, they're a lot of times, not always, but they're used to using their weight to get their way, right? And if their temperament's not there, then it becomes dangerous.
Right, yeah. So, but like I said, they had to separate them. It's like, this match is not happening. Like, forget it. You ruined it. You can't even calm down, and we telling you what happened, and then,
Yeah, it's good to kind of, for people to just be able to understand that even under pressure, there's a level that you have to be at, right? Like this is not a street fight. It's got some rules. We're trying to be safe. So Man of Stand Up, I think, provided people who might have not had that opportunity to experience that type of sparring to get it, because it's very important. Sparring is not just for yourself, it's mostly for yourself, but it's also to learn to control and protect your partner, because you're not trying to like send each other to space, for lack of a better word, right? That's what a fight is.
Like there's some like situations where we had this Taekwondo guy fighting, and I forgot his name, but you could tell he was used to point fighting, and it was Professor Jahad. He was a referee. You know, the guy gets punched in the face. You know, gets the 1-2 combo, and he look at Professor Jahad like, "What the hell is this?" And he's like, "Don't look at me, look at him." You're the one fighting him. So continue. So the guy, you could tell the guy was just used to point fighting, and not continue sparring the way we was doing.
That's a very fun follow-up question. Did you have many examples of this, like people who really drastically underestimated their abilities? Was that like every event you'd have one or two, or was it pretty rare?
Um, it's pretty rare that you will sometimes get somebody who say they're new or intermediate, and then they're more advanced. And then you'll see it when they're fighting somebody who's not as advanced as him. We had a situation like that, you know, and we was like, "Whoa, dude, you say you was intermediate, you're not. You're not fighting like you are." You know, because at one point the guy started showing off. Like, for one thing, I hate is show offs. Just fight. No need to put your put your hands down, your hands behind your back. I hate stuff like that. Like, to me, that's another trigger. Like, I hate show offs. You know.
Yeah, exactly. Um, Adding on to your point, for me, it's a step further. If they're obviously bigger and they're trying to do the show off, then it's like, come on, man. Half the reason you're doing it was because you're bigger. So if you're also trying to show off, then you just don't understand yourself. You don't understand your natural advantage. You know, I've had so many stories of people who just naturally built bigger, and then like they might not know how to spar correctly, or they might overestimate their abilities. It's very interesting. Like, this is such an interesting topic because it's sometimes this type of person that almost ruins it for the beginners. It's like,
Right.
be gentle on the beginners. Like, they're just starting. You don't have to
Right.
tease them or pretend like you use them for your ego. Like, that you were a beginner at one point.
Right. People forget.
Yeah.
When people get good, they forget, and then they just want to show off for somebody who's less experienced.
Yeah, exactly. My one of my triggers is like a person who's obviously better than me hitting me too hard. I'm like, that's not helping me at all. Like, I'm not there to be like, I'm better than you. I'm here to learn from you. So like, teach me. Don't hit me too hard,
Right.
Billy. It's your fault. I know it's my fault. Now stop hitting me too hard and teach me. He's like, the guy was like, yeah, if you get hit, it's your fault. I'm like, I know, because I'm not as good as you. So stop hitting me too hard and then just teach me what I need to do. That's part of sparring. It's not just to let your
Right.
ego go and hit him hard. So eventually I stopped sparring that guy because it's like, I'm not learning anything from him. Besides, he hits hard.
Like, nobody used to have these meetups, sparring meetups in the park and stuff. And one time we had these Wing Chun guys come in and stuff, and he put me to the side. He goes, "What's your spar this guy? Because I know how you are. You know, I know you're not gonna turn it up on him. These other guys, they don't got control like you do." So, see, so I'm gonna trust you. I'm gonna trust you with this guy, spar with this guy and stuff. As within the first 15 seconds, I already knew that he was up to my level. So I was like, okay, I see what Nobel's talking about, because he saw it too, you know. So I just started working on my techniques that was taught, you know. So you'll see me doing the splitting, you know, and stuff like that, and doing the sinyi.
So that's actually a good final question for you. So what is your martial arts journey now? Are you still doing a lot of kung fu styles, or have you incorporated other styles besides kung fu styles? Tell me about that.
Main styles is sinyi and bagua zhang. That's it. I
Hmm.
never learned anything beyond that. And some boxing, you know, just about it to incorporate it. You know, I watch a lot of boxing and stuff.
Hmm.
Like, I was on a trip with Dave. We went to Florida, and was watching this boxing match, and I noticed, well, he noticed that I was able to pick up on something that he didn't, like which boxer is going to win, which is going to lose, this stuff. He's like, how the hell you pick that up? I said, I don't know. I just see it, you know, because when I'm a big fan of RJ Ward. I don't know if you know what that is,
Mm-hmm.
but he retired undefeated. And the reason he's not really well known because he wasn't a shit talker.
Mm.
That's why I became a fan because he was a shit talker. He let his talking go in the ring, you know. But he was an excellent boxer. Right?
Wow.
So I
Wow.
studied him a lot, you know. And then even Novell picked up on it, you know. He said, "You're doing a lot of boxing. Who you watching?" And I told him Audrey Ward. You know, he's like, "Oh, okay."
Wow. Wow. Um, do you the new event that you are planning to do in the future? Do you have a name for it yet?
No, I want to keep it secret
Okay.
until I
All
reveal it.
right. All right. So let's do another interview when it's closer to the time of that event. We can promote that. I think I'm very excited for that.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
We'll do definitely.
Exactly.
We'll do that.
Exactly. So, everyone, this was Jess-one, and he helped co-organize Man of Stand Up, and he's doing more. So, Jess-one will be back. A lot more to come. And Jess, you have my number, so just reach out to me on WhatsApp whenever, and we can get the conversation going. So, again, shout
Cool.
out Man of Stand Up, shout out Novell, and then shout out Dave for connecting Jess-one and I. Great conversation, and we'll definitely do another one soon.
All
So,
right, cool. Thanks for
yeah.
having me.
And if you have a YouTube channel, or if you have a YouTube channel in the future, just let me know. I can link it too.
Oh, well, yeah, the Just One show.
Oh, the Jess-one show. Okay,
Yeah.
let me add that right now before we go. So to everyone watching, shout out for watching. So the Fight Commentary chats. It's a more intimate conversation, more intimate um, vibe for the audiences. But I like connecting with audiences who want to just have longer conversations. Oh, there you are. Found you. So for everyone watching, here is. Oh, he already subbed to you. Nice. Marshall Geeks already subbed to you. Nice. Just one's channel. And I will link this in the description once this video comes out.
Okay,
So
cool.
yeah, everyone follow Just-one. And then once the video finishes encoding, I'll send you the link directly too. So you can watch it
Cool.
later.
Appreciate it.
Cool. So everyone, thank you so much for tuning in. This Fight Commentary Breakdowns interviewing Jess-one.
Peace.